I just saw the movie October 8th, documentary. The thing that upset me about this movie was not seeing the orcs of all the campuses. It wasn't seeing footage of October 7th, of the massacre. It honestly wasn't even seeing the testimony of these presidents of these universities. My friends, I don't expect anything from our enemies. I expect absolutely nothing from them. Okay? I know exactly what I'm looking at. I know exactly what I'm getting. I know the history of who they are. I know what they want. I understand them completely. I'm going to quote Rabbi Kahana tonight. What I don't understand is my fellow Jews. And no, I'm not blaming the victims, my friends. What I don't really understand, who I don't understand, are the Jews that come and talk about how, all these organizations who condemned violence against women did not condemn violence against Jewish women. All these organizations, we wrote to them, we spoke to them, we wrote op-eds, we wrote this, and we went over here, and we talked over there. And, Sheryl Sandberg, I asked my non-Jewish friend, would you hide me? My friends, no one cares about our articles. No one cares about any organizations or are pleased to any organizations. The UN hates us. The people who sit in the UN are paid to hate us. They are paid to hate us. They are either paid to hate us or they're part of the countries or the entities that pay others to hate us, to do things against us. So my friends, what's appalling to me about this documentary is that, first of all, there was not one person who was interviewed who was speaking from a Torah perspective. Yeah, they mentioned Torah, how it's, Zion is part of Torah and history, and it's Jerusalem and Zion. They mentioned it for about, it was a 1.5 hour documentary. This whole thing was mentioned for about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, as like a given, right? It's just some kind of like a matter of fact kind of thing, right? They spoke about the campus stuff and all the things that went on campuses and all the things that went on in the media, my friends, and how appalled everybody was. And then you know what happened, my friends? My father, after we got out of the theater, this rundown theater that we're subjected to watching this movie in, Baruch Hashem, at least this theater put this movie out. My father asked me, why is there no JDL? Why is there no Jewish Defense League? Why don't you, Tzvi, go to a campus and start the Jewish Defense League? Why? And I said to him, dear father, if somebody like me or others were to do this in the United States of America, you know what would happen to us? We would be condemned by our own people, by our own pro-Israel people. We would be condemned. As what? As extremists, as venerators of a quote-unquote terrorist organization, namely JDL, which, by the way, why would they label that? Because they attacked those who would attack Jews, and they attacked specifically the Soviet government, outposts of the Soviet government in America. That's specifically what they were doing, what their activities were. Essentially, my friends, Rabbi Kahana started the Let My People Go movement for Soviet Jews, such as myself and my parents. That is what he became labeled as a terrorist for, initially. Okay? And so, I know that if I start doing something like this, or anybody else like me were to start, I know that 80% or 75% of Jews, or at least 50% at this point, maybe more, would come down on me. Or at the very least would not join me. So my friends, who wants to start a movement when they know that no one else will join them? Or if the people who do want to join them are afraid to do so because they don't want to lose their jobs, they don't want to be seen as troglodytes or, extremists or pariahs or all the rest of it, my friends. And so what are we left with? We're left with just a bunch of these Jews in this documentary and others like them, right? Who voted in for a guy who hates Israel twice. Yes, he hates Israel. He despises Israel. He wanted Israel to go back to the 67 lines. He asked the guy who's the current prime minister, he asked him to do this on national television in front of the whole world, which Baruch Hashem, the guy told him, go fly a kite, okay? And you guys voted for him twice. 80% of you did. And now you're complaining about what's going on college campuses. When he's the one that did this, when he's the one that facilitated this on his own both his alma maters, Columbia and Harvard, and by extension everywhere else. So, my friends, that was the most disappointing part of this entire documentary, where these people who are all about, fighting for other people's rights and fighting for this and fighting for that and being progressive and being that. And Bari Weiss, I went over here and I went over there and I always thought of myself as this and And it turns out it's not, these people are not with me and I'm not included in their thing. My friends, the thing that upset me about this documentary is the fact that the Jews in America were living in fantasy world, and probably still, to some extent, still continue to live in a fantasy world. They're not fully awake. They're not fully there. They're not fully grasping what is really going on here. They think peace is the absence of hostility. They don't understand that peace comes from completion. The word shalom is related to the word shalem. You have to complete the mission. Folks, we have to destroy them, okay? What we're doing now, finally, the Israeli government is finally doing it. The army is what should have been done on October 8th. That is peace. That's how you achieve peace with these orcs. You understand me? And the ones on campus as well. Yeah, we're not going to go, unfortunately, we're not going to go doing what we do to Hamas on these campuses. But at the very least, my friends, you have to start figuring out ways how to defend yourself, figuring out ways how to make yourself look like someone not to be messed with, right? Someone not to be followed around on a campus, or somebody not to be blocked from entering a building or blocked from entering your class. I understand you weren't raised this way. I understand your parents are, I don't know what, checked out, forgot about who they are. Or if they think that they're Jewish, they don't even know what that means, right? I understand that. I get it. My friends, you are the new generation. The ones of you on campuses, the ones of you who feel unsafe and feel this and feel that, and thought you were part of this and thought you were accepted here, and you fought for those people, and you went over here, and this organization, and you wrote these op-ed. My friends, get your heads, I'm saying this with love, get your heads out your asses. No one's coming to help you. No one's coming to hide you, like Anne Frank. And I suggest you move out of what's called dumb blue states and move to places where you can own a firearm. That is your only recourse in the United States of America as a Jew today. Move out of a dumb blue state, a dumb Democrat city, and a dumb, stupid Democrat state. Move to a red state. And yeah, there's people there also who don't like us, whatever it is. But at the very least, if you have to live next to them, maybe, if they have a firearm and you have a firearm, you kind of cancel each other out, right? Does that make sense? My friends, and I'm talking to myself right now because I'm here in a place in Jersey, in North Jersey, right next to me, right? The place where I am is very Jewish. Right next to us is an actual Palestinian outpost. They have declared themselves the fourth or fifth holiest city in the world, these people, if you want to call them people. Okay? And so we're next to them. The question is, how many of us are armed? We live in a dumb blue state, right? New Jersey. My friends, it's infuriating to see how weak you are and how weak you present yourselves to be. It's infuriating. And, you're taken on birthright trips and you see the Israeli soldiers and you see how Israel is like this new, country with strong Jews and Sephardim and Jews who are not like the Jews in America, who are not like the Jews in Europe, right? Who are going to stand up for themselves, who are going to defend, supposedly fight for themselves if the government allows them to do it. And you want to write letters, and you want this organization and this congressman and this president of this university and this UN which is a cesspool of Nazis, whether they be Islamo-Nazis or actual European Nazis still, or I don't know, North Korea and China and Russia and all the rest of it. You want them to help you. You want them to hide you. Would you hide me? Sheryl Sandberg, she asked her non-Jewish friend, would you hide me? Folks, this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. You're a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I don't know what else to say. Wake up and defend yourself. And if you can't, if you're not going to do it, pack your shit, pardon my language, and head on home to Israel. And you want to tell me, Tzvi, what Israel also has, rockets and all the rest of it. Attacks, rockets. My friends, at the very least, it's our home. At the very least, we know who's coming. At the very least, if we defend ourselves, the idea is we're not supposed to ask anybody to defend ourselves, even though we are asking the whole world, but you can defend yourself. Here in America, you're basically a sitting duck. You're a sitting duck. You're in the movie, they even said, we're a minority. And we have to be like this protected minority. And depending on where we live, right, we have to rely on the congressman, the senator, the mayor, the president, right? We have to wait for a president to come in who actually gives a crap about us. Maybe this one does. Yeah, he does. The previous one didn't, right? And the one before him, before this one, before him, the one I mentioned, didn't. He did not. He pretended to. He said a lot of nice words. 80% of you voted for him. My friends, everything you saw on campuses is from him. It's from him, and you voted for him, and now you cry. Oh, how could this have happened? Gee, I don't know. The Muslim Brotherhood Memorandum for North America? Council on American Islamic Relations? I don't know. Funding from Qatar? How could this have happened? When did this happen? I don't know. During the Obama administration. Look it up. My friends, enough of this. But let's go. Torah equals Jewish. Jewish equals Torah. Let's go back to Torah. Instead of your so-called whatever you think are Jewish values and organizations and writing letters to this congressman and this senator and blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. That's what upset me about this documentary. Not the orcs on campus, which I knew. I saw them already for 25 years on my own campus years ago. The Arabs. Oh, surprise, surprise. Arabs came to kill Jews. Surprise, surprise. I made many videos about that, guys. And I'm not minimizing the attack. I'm not surprised. You were surprised. I wasn't surprised. Not one bit. Because I know history. And history matters to me. But yeah, guys. I couldn't sit through it. It made me cringe. I never thought I would see Jews in such a weak, pandering state, talking about how they feel unsafe and doing nothing about it themselves, for themselves. And then a person like me comes along and says, well, we should do that. No, you're an extremist. You're violent. You wake up with violence. You're extreme. You're this, you're that. Okay. Keep doing what you're doing, guys, and shkoyach. Let's see how that works out for you. Laila Tov.